Here we are for another episode of MoonLore. Are you ready, Jenny?
Yes, Laurie.
All right, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the upcoming Leo new moon that's happening on August 8th.
Okay, what's special about this new moon? I hear an awful lot of buzz about it out in the world of social media.
Yeah, well, it's a special new moon because it's landing right in the middle of Leo, like smack dab in the middle, which is a special point because it's conjunct the star Sirius. And there's this whole palaver about it being this amazing spiritual cosmic moment when this gate is going to open. And it is a great time to plant some seeds of intention, especially with the new moon.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's called Lion's Gate. It's supposed to be opening this portal. It happens every year on August 8th. It's it's also connected to numerology, the number 8. I'm not exactly sure. I need to do a little more research on that, but it also, 15 degrees of every one of the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, 15 degrees of each of the fixed signs is the exact midpoint between the solstices and the equinoxes. So, there's a lot of things that kind of make it a little more potent than a normal new moon. So celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the first thing I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Well, we all are desperate for a little celebration. So I think we should take the opportunity.
Yeah. And I'll just add a little more about I do know a tiny bit about just 8 being the number for infinity, but really the number for abundance. So really is this time of considering abundance. And that's an extra added piece.
Right.
So 8, it's kind of it's like the lucky number.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. So aside from all of that, when we're looking at the new moon and the full moon, these lunations, we're looking at the whole cycle of the combination of the sun and the moon, the relationship between them and the cycle that they go on month to month, year to year. And the cycle begins at the new moon. And we equate these cycles with the cycle of plant growth, and the new moon would be the time that you plant a seed. So that's a lot of what we want to be thinking about is the seed that needs to be planted at this time. And that seed over the next 2 weeks will grow until the next full moon, which happens on August 22nd. But then in the larger cycle, we follow this planting of this new seed to the Leo full moon, which is on February 16th. So that kind of covers the cycle of the sun and the moon.
Yeah.
So the next thing we want to talk about is the sign of Leo, right?
Yes.
What do you know about the sign of Leo?
Leo is amazing.
Said like a true Leo.
As a pair of Leos here doing this video, Leo really is the sign that celebrates the height of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. The sun rules it. So we really are thinking about all things sun, radiance, generosity, just this real warmth, kind of the thing that is at the center of the hearth fire for everybody. So Leo, when it's at its most positive, really just is this generous, exuberant energy that everybody is drawn to. We could say a couple of things about the more negative, but let's keep it positive.
Right. Yeah. Every sign has its positive manifestation and its more negative manifestation. And I'm sure you all know the more negative side of Leo because there's a lot has been said about that, just the arrogance and the overblown ego. But you look at the sun, are you going to say the sun is arrogant and has an overblown ego? Well, it warms everything. So, managing that, if you have a lot of Leo in your chart, you've got to learn to manage that and really work to express the open-hearted generosity, which is certainly the best part of it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. There's Leo. Now, you want to open the chart and we can take a look at it?
Yeah, let's bust it out. So here's the chart for Sunday, August 8th. We have it set for 9:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So the time will be a little bit different depending where you are in the world, but here we have it. There's quite a lot to this chart, and Lori and I were commenting before that it's a little bit of a funny feeling to Leo season right now, and I think it's because there's a lot of Leo, but the backdrop is Aquarius, which is its polar opposite. So we're going to be talking about those topics quite a bit today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing, when I see this Leo new moon at 16 degrees, the first thing that comes to mind is we've been talking so much this year about that square aspect between Saturn and Uranus that, has 3 passes throughout the course of the year. And, you just think about the struggle in the culture and you see that. The Saturn trying to hold things in a certain position and Uranus trying to wake us up to what needs to change, and just that tension between those 2 planets. And it's totally hooked in, to this particular new moon. It's Uranus is squaring it. Saturn is a little farther off, but it's in opposition to it. So, I think of this new moon as we really are so much in, we can't get away from this difficulty in the culture.
Yeah.
And here we are at the new moon. What are we going to plant now that is going to somehow help this struggle that we're in the middle of?
Yeah, or to respond to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what, just having that Uranus Saturn squares, that's the backdrop. That's what's going on. And it's just interesting how this sun moon just completely tangles with that intense struggle. So what can we do?
It's so interesting to think about it. As you're saying that, I'm thinking, yes, this is the backdrop, this struggle, which is a very cultural thing. It's not a personal thing. It's what's happening around us. And then Leo is the most personal sign. So it's like questioning, what seed are you personally going to plant for your response to where we find ourselves?
Yeah, and I think, well, you were saying that, I mean, Uranus really represents the change that's required because things are not in balance. Things are, sort of moving and shaking underneath us. And I just think that it's kind of like we all have to go within and find our own kind of inner radiance to, I don't know, to kind of find that so you can cope with all of these shifts and things that are moving around. And that's kind of the task. And so that means like inside yourself, but also I think just being really present with what's happening in your life, really paying close attention to your relationships, to your conversations, to the mundane things, because those things are, I don't know, we kind of overlook them. And I think that that's part of the message, is to be present through this. While the outside kind of moves around and shakes us around, we find an inner radiance that is unshakable.
Yeah. There's something about the way you said that. And it just made me think about the fact that Venus and Mars are both in Virgo right now. So there is that steadying, paying attention to our partners, the people that we're engaged with, and finding that level of kindness. I don't know, it just brought that to my attention.
Yeah, well, because I think, what you're tapping on is there's a lot of oppositions and stress in this chart, but then there's a couple really helpful things that are more supportive, and we definitely want to talk about those. And one of them is definitely tied in with Venus, which is that more kind of the principle of kindness and perhaps being more receptive. And in Virgo, it's begging the question, what can I do to help around me to add more kindness to this mixture? Yep. And it's kind of helping to soothe the intensity of Uranus that's really shaking up in Taurus.
Yeah, and to be of service. That whole issue with Virgo of being of service with kindness and, approaching some of this upheaval with that, steady and just being kind and offering some sort of service to help.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And also, that Venus also is trining Pluto.
Oh
So
my
I
goodness.
know. So you see that it's kind of like you're getting this, yep, this is the way through to empowerment is through kindness and through uplifting others. This is what empowerment is in this chart.
Right.
That's what I think of when I see
Right.
that trine there.
I
So
really like that.
yeah. So that's the helpfulness in the chart. And then there's one other one, isn't there, Lori?
Yes, yes. It's Chiron.
Oh yeah. The trine.
Chiron is trining that new moon very closely. And I think that's, there's a healing potential in it.
Yeah. It's like this is the way we have to go in order to create more healing, to heal the rifts
Right.
in the culture that are really becoming apparent to all of us right now.
And being willing to, this is fire, this is Aries and Leo, being willing to take a fast, determined action to support that flow. Yeah, that's beautiful. I like seeing that. Yeah, so there's some difficulties, but there's definitely some gifts in the midst of this.
Yeah. Though it's funny because Laura, you and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about oppositions, and we were talking about how oppositions are aspects of stress and tension in one way, but they're also the way that you get a really good viewpoint. Because when do you see the moon? It's when it's full and it's bright, and that's an opposition. So when we're seeing these oppositions, they're also just these really important opportunities for clarity and for understanding what your viewpoint, and letting that viewpoint shift and open.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Oppositions are often just thought of as, oh, it's a problem because they're in opposite, they're opposite. But they're two sides to the same coin. They can see, if you think about the chart as a great big dining room table, who can you see more directly than someone who's right opposite you? You might not agree with them. There might be some challenge, but you have the clarity of vision.
Yeah. And I mean, we talk a lot about polarities in our full moon videos because that's one of the things that those bring to us. And in this case, it's just because Saturn's opposing the sun and the moon. But I think of the combination of Aquarius and then the Leo, it's kind of like trying to bring this friendliness to the collective, the warm, personal nature of Leo to the more impersonal desire for humanitarian change as represented by Aquarius. So that's what those are the principles in play.
Yeah. It's just so much about, bringing your light to the work necessary for the collective. Something in that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So is there anything else on this, or do you want to go right into our consideration of where this falls in each person's chart?
No, I think let's go through the where it falls into people's charts, because we can talk a little bit more about the different faces of Leo.
Okay.
In that,
okay.
So.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go through and talk about each sign, and what we're looking at is your rising sign. So if you know your rising sign, listen for when we talk about your rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, you can go by your sun sign. It won't work. It won't be quite as specific, but it'll still give you some information that's valuable. And so go with that. Now we're going to start with Aries, because we always start with Aries. It's the first sign of the zodiac. So if you've got Aries rising, this Leo new moon is going to fall in your 5th house. So the seed that you want to plant with the new moon in your 5th house is, a metaphorical seed to develop love through playful expression. You want to think about expressing generosity and attention to your loved ones. You want to begin a creative project or learn to play, start some way of learning how to teach yourself to play.
I would also just add, this is a great time to take risks
Oh,
and take a risk for
wow.
love, basically. So
Wow.
maybe being willing to be more playful and open. So,
Wow. I like that. Take
hmm,
a risk. Yeah, fifth house is about taking risks. That's great. Okay. So if you have Taurus rising, then we're looking at this new moon falling in your fourth house. So you're going to plant a seed for dramatic, playful expression in your home with your family.
mhm.
What else do you want to say about that?
Oh, let's see. Other topics of the fourth house are going to be ancestral lineage.
Mm,
So that's just kind of what popped in my mind. But maybe being a little more, I don't know, playful about where do you come from? What are your roots?
right.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, develop some sort of something fun at home. Have a game night.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
Gather the
game night.
family around, have a game night, and do it. Think of it in terms of planting the seed. Like, maybe we're going to do this on a regular basis.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you've got Gemini rising, the Leo new moon is going to fall in your third house. So the seed, the metaphorical seed that you're planting is around developing generosity and magnanimity in your communications.
Nice.
Yeah.
Third house also rules short trips. So that includes like as you cruise around your neighborhood, make that effort to smile, bring a little more friendliness to people in your neighborhood.
What a
And
nice
hmm,
idea.
yeah,
Yeah,
simple,
be
but
generous. That
mhm.
for some reason that just reminds me, my friend Martina has more blueberries than she can manage. And actually you were the recipient of some, but I know
Yeah, delicious.
she took like gallons of them and just went to all her neighbors and dropped off blueberries. So that would be
Ooh,
yeah, that's the kind of thing. Think about that. How could you bring that in
mm,
um, to do something along those lines? Okay.
cool.
So now if you have Cancer rising, this new moon is going to fall in your second house. So the seed that you're going to plant here is the seed for the growth of generosity, enthusiasm, creative self-expression. Give money away.
Mm.
Determine,
Mhm.
it would be a great time to decide where you want to donate money.
I like that.
Maybe if you have made an ongoing donation to some particular organization for 15 years, you might want to rethink it. There
Mm,
might be something more important that's really important to you now.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would just say on an inner level, just check in with how you value yourself. Like you
Yeah.
giving yourself enough credit. Like, are you being are you taking yourself too seriously? Is it time to kind of lift that and have a little more joyful expression about how you do that? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That second house, it's so easy. Lots of people I find think of it as just money and resources and
Mm,
stuff. And it is so much about the self-worth,
mm,
like you're highlighting there.
mm-hmm.
Um, so then if you have Leo rising, this is going to fall in your first house. You're going to want to plant a seed for your own expression of vitality
Mm.
and confidence. And what I wrote in my blog was make it a point on that day to dress in your brightest colors.
Nice.
Don't put on a brown outfit, go for the oranges and the reds and put on a hat.
Nice. I love that. Also, the first house, you kind of already said it, but it's sort of like a development, like self-development program. Like and this is how you bring more generosity to the way that you express yourself. And that's what I was thinking
Yeah,
about.
that's
Yeah,
great.
nice,
That's
Lori.
great.
Yeah.
So if you've got Virgo rising,
Mm-hmm.
this is falling in your 12th house. So you're going to plant a seed for the growth. The growth, I'm going to just read exactly what I wrote
Yeah, do it.
because I'm not sure what I was thinking of here. I wrote, plant a metaphorical seed for the growth of childlike acceptance of your most authentic but often hidden nature. Begin a healing journey to support your hidden nature that needs to be expressed through theatrics and play.
Oh, I think that's awesome.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's that retrieval of that childlike part of your persona that is maybe getting in touch
Yeah.
with a part of you that was able to play before some aspects of pain and suffering of growing up came into your life.
Wow.
And we all have to do some of that work, whether we
Yeah.
like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nice.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. So if you've got Libra rising, this Leo new moon falls in your 11th house.
Mm,
So you're going to be planting a seed for the purpose of growing a playful, dramatic community of some sort.
mm,
Inviting like-minded people to start a community with you. Do something along those lines. Join a
hmm
community group.
Yeah. I think with that Leo in the 11th house like that too, like that's really of just let people love you, like
Oh, I
let that
love that.
receive that love. So
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. Plant a seed of accepting love. I love that idea. That's, the 11th house is the way I look at the 11th house, the way Jennie and I talk about the 11th house it's where we receive love. The 5th house is where we give love. The 11th house is where we receive love. And it's really understanding the 11th house in that way kind of was a
mhm,
game changer for me when I really got
mhm,
that.
agreed.
Yeah.
Mhm, yep.
So then if you have Scorpio rising, I didn't skip one, did I? No.
No, you're good.
Um, if you have Scorpio rising, this Leo new moon is falling in your 10th house. So you're going to be planting some sort of a seed to bring playfulness and joy and generosity to your career.
hmm Nice. Well said.
Yeah. And I wrote
Great.
on here also, update your resume or plan your retirement.
hmm
If your
Yeah.
career is not allowing your full vitality and joy to shine brightly, then go update your resume. Yeah.
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 I think
Okay.
that's great. Yep.
Now, if you've got Sagittarius rising, this is going to fall in your 9th house. So what's the seed here? It's to increase enthusiasm as you expand your worldview. Get enthusiastic about other cultures, other ideas. Plant a seed about understanding someone who you don't understand, that has a different
Yeah.
worldview than you.
hmm Yeah, I was going to say shine a light on, somebody that you don't, that you can learn something from, somebody
Right,
who's totally different. So that was great,
right,
Lori. Yep.
right. Okay,
Mhm.
so then we're on to the Capricorn rising. If you've got Capricorn rising, this is going to fall in your 8th house. So you're planting a seed for, let's see, you're planting a seed for a childlike acceptance of other people's values. Be
Mm,
willing to navigate the boundaries between yourself and others. Plant a seed to learn how to navigate those boundaries and bringing an
mhm.
open heart to to those kind of conversations.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day about the eighth house because it's always tricky to explain. And we were talking about the importance of setting boundaries and then having this conversation about boundaries are not walls, but actually boundaries to some degree they're a semi-permeable consistency to them. They're not rigid. So it takes us, you have to kind of flow a little bit to be able
Uh-huh.
to work with that and
Yeah.
set appropriate boundaries that are going to have some changeability for them. So,
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that you really brought to my awareness, Jennie, was the whole issue with the 8th house around ritual, the connection of
mm,
ritual and boundaries. So, this would be a
mm,
great time to develop a ritual around that as well.
hmm mm,
Um,
cool.
so then if you have Aquarius rising, this is going to be falling in your 7th house, which is the house of partnership. So you're going to plant a seed to have more fun with your partner, or if you're single and don't have a partner, plant a seed to grow that kind of playfulness in important friendships.
Mm,
Yeah,
hmm
whatever, partner can mean many things, but it's
Yeah.
a important one-on-one relationship.
hmm Yeah. And I think one of the things that's tricky when you've been in a relationship for a long time is like it's hard to get the spontaneity back, right? So it's almost like you have to plan the spontaneity.
Right,
So this
right.
is an invitation to plant a seed to do just that. When you set up the space, amazing things can happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I wrote on my thing was plan a theatrical and romantic connection with your partner.
Ooh,
Allow them to witness the depth of your loyalty.
nice, Lori.
You know,
Awesome.
loyalty is another thing that Leo has a real connection to loyalty. You know, you look at the sun up there, the sun ruling Leo, and it's not going to all of a sudden decide one day to not show up.
Mm.
You know, it's got that loyalty of it's going to always be there.
Mhm.
So then if you have Pisces rising, this is falling in your 6th house, and this is planting a seed to develop personal routines in your life that are dramatic and fun. Start a practice whose purpose is to increase your confidence, your vitality, your joy. Baby steps will do, but plant a seed to increase joy in your day-to-day life.
Mhm. And the 6th house, I mean, there's a little debate about it, but it does pertain to health too. And so I think about just notice when you feel stressed and kind of bring the opposite in. You can plant that seed for play to relieve tension and holding and stress as a practice. So I think that's a good
Absolutely.
Leo thing to do.
Absolutely.
Great.
Okay. I think, let me see. I think we're done with that. Whoops.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stop this share, but for some reason I can't figure out
Oh,
how to
that's
do
on
that.
me. I got it.
Oh, that's why I
Yeah.
can't do it.
I was like, what's she doing? All right, I'll start the share.
Okay. All right. So is that everything we needed to talk about?
Yeah, I think we covered it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jennie. And for those of you who are watching us, be sure to catch us every new moon and every full moon. And be sure to catch our astrobiographies. We did one a week or so ago about Simone Biles. What a fascinating chart and what a fascinating woman she is. And we will continue to do those. You can find Jennie at hiddenpathastrology.com. You can find me at astrolore.org.
Awesome. Thanks, Lori. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jennie. Have a great day, everyone.